Join LEX18 and the Salvation Army as we help make a difference for flood victims in eastern Kentucky. How you can help is next on LEX18 News at 6.
Count on LEX18 News.
The latest on the recovery efforts in Johnson County after deadly flooding. The details coming up.
It's an overwhelming response in Lexington by so many people who want to make a difference in the lives of the Johnson County storm victims. And what the National Weather Service says caused this damage in Fleming County.
LEX18 News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher. Thanks for joining us at 6. We'll begin tonight with Storm Tracker team coverage on the flood recovery in Johnson County. Nancy Cox and Bill Meck are standing by with information about how you can help those victims start over again after losing everything in the string of severe storms. But first, we have some breaking news in Jessamine County. A reported shooting on East Chestnut. Jessica Reyes is live with the breaking details.
Kevin, it's still a very active scene here. As you can see, police have taped off a good part of the block here after they say one man was shot this afternoon. Now, all this unfolded just after 4 o'clock. Investigators are still trying to gather information as to what took place out here. As you can see, there was an ambulance on the scene that just took off a few moments ago, and we know one person was hurt. Right now, we don't know how bad that person's injuries are or who the gunman is. Investigators are out taking pictures and putting down markings on the ground. All this happening near a busy part of Nicholasville, just a few blocks away from Main Street. Of course, this is still a developing situation. As soon as we know more on how that victim is doing or who the gunman is, we'll bring that back to you. For now, we're covering the news live in Jessamine County from the LEX18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
And back to the devastation facing the people living in Johnson County. There are new developments in the ongoing search and rescue for possible storm victims. Crews found a third body this afternoon. 5 people are still unaccounted for. Brianna Gilroy is live in Johnson County with the latest. Brianna?
It has been a devastating couple of days for everyone here in Johnson County. 3 people have died. The coroner tells us the most recent body found was a 22-year-old man. But among the heartbreak, there's also hope here.
Our driveway getting out of our house was gone, and it came up, the creek came up over top of it, and we haven't had any electric or water.
Matthew McKenzie and his 7 family members are staying at a temporary shelter.
They help me get stuff I need.
For many here in Johnson County, those things include food, water, and a place to sleep.
With no water, no electric, we'll just take them one day by a time. That's all we can do.
60 homes were destroyed during Sunday's flood. People's lives were shattered, but in ruin, recovery has already begun. The American Red Cross has a shelter set up. This afternoon, a church group from Arkansas stopped by to make people lunch.
It's hard to put into words without and see what the people have been through. And see somebody they just lose everything they owned in a matter of seconds.
And the local high school is overflowing with donations, helping Gracie Wright and her 3 kids.
Food and paper plates and cups because we have no water or electric.
More help and donations are headed this way to bring a community back on its feet.
We all need to stick together. Everybody needs to stick together through this.
And there are just so many stories of devastation from the people here in Johnson County. Jennifer McGraw spoke to a family who escaped their home before it was swept away by the floodwaters. She continues our Storm Tracker team coverage.
An unbelievable scene for so many out here, where you can see a house once stood here and there's practically nothing that's salvageable in the whole stretch of the 8 miles.
This is awful. We've lost everything. Everybody has.
The Hitchcocks say the road up through Flat Gap is unrecognizable. The water rose so quickly, by the time they got out of the creek, it turned into a raging river. They barely had a chance to react. Moments later, their son Josh captured this video of their neighbor's home smashing into the bridge.
When it came out the other side of the bridge, it was nothing but lumber. You couldn't tell it was a house.
This is the bridge that you saw in the video where the house smashed into a million little pieces. And as you can see, it's all over the lawn, stretching down the creek. Here's another house. This is where the Hitchcocks lived. Now their house is on the other side. This is just one of hundreds of stories, people dealing with pain and the damage and destruction from this storm. Covering the news here in Johnson County from the LEX18 mobile newsroom, back to you.
The Hitchcocks have a GoFundMe page set up. Log on to our website, LEX18.com, if you'd like to help them. Disaster recovery centers have been set up to help people who lost everything during the storms. Our chief meteorologist, Bill Meck, is live at Johnson Central High School where they're collecting donations. Bill?
Johnson Central is the collection point. It is also the point where it is being delivered from. So everything that you're doing there in central Kentucky, this is where it's going to wind up in eastern Kentucky. And as you look around, you can see we've got lots of folks out here who have been volunteering throughout the day today, getting folks what they need, but also as folks have been arriving, they have been the ones who have been taking the stuff from them, just the local deliveries. Now, of course, when the big truck gets here tomorrow, there'll be a whole lot of folks here making sure that everything that you're doing to help these folks out gets to where it needs to be. The stories have been amazing out of here. I mean, just heartbreaking, some of the things that we've been hearing in terms of the devastation here in and around Johnson County. A little bit outside of downtown Paintsville is where the worst of this has been. All in all, the damage has been severe, but the folks here are trying to persevere as best they can, as Eastern Kentuckians do. We're going to go and talk about more about this LEX18 caravan, and we'll do that more here from Johnson Central in just a little bit.
All right, Bill, thanks. And LEX18 and the Salvation Army have teamed up to collect donations for the flood victims. Nancy Cox is live at the Richmond Road Kroger in Lexington, where you can help make a difference in the LEX18 caravan. Nancy?
Kevin, the cavalry's arrived, so to speak. We've got our second truck that has moved in. It's going to go back and pick up some water that Kroger is donating, a very important item, as you heard Bill talk about. But we have a little bit of everything coming in: pet food, baby food, lots of water, lots of paper goods, which are very needed. We're getting folks bringing flashlights. That is a fabulous idea. And batteries. People need basically everything. If you can imagine going into survival mode yourself. And you know, we watch things on the news every day and you feel bad about them and you think, what's going on in the world? Well, that kind of devastation came to our doorstep this week with these floods, but there is something we can do. We don't have to sit back helplessly. You can give. We have lists of items that these folks need. You can take it right in Kroger, buy what you want to donate, and we'll even haul it out here for you in the cart and put it in the trucks. We have some folks just driving up and popping their trunks, and we're unloading for them. Others want to stay and chat for a while. So we'll help you if you'll just turn out. We'll take all this stuff to the people who need it so desperately in eastern Kentucky. We hope you'll help us. Kevin, back to you.
And that's why we call it Making a Difference. The National Weather Service has spent the day in Rowan and Fleming counties assessing yesterday's damage. Kelsey Borza continues our Storm Tracker team coverage.
Today we learned what ripped through Fleming County last night, causing massive damage, was actually a mix of straight-line winds and an EF1 tornado. You would think it'd be the tornado responsible for this mess that sent 3 people to the hospital, but meteorologists say it was actually straight-line winds around 100 miles per hour.
Most people focus on the word tornado, and they think if it's not a tornado, it's not that bad, but this is proof positive that folks need to heed severe thunderstorm warnings.
Meteorologists say by looking at this fence line and seeing the debris stuck along the fence in a straight line back, that's how they determined what caused all this damage.
But based on the damage, I don't see any signs of rotation, you know, things being turned in a circular manner there.
They did find signs of a tornado, though, less than a mile away on Harn Road, where this barn was damaged. Over in Rowan County, Edwards says straight-line winds brought down dozens of trees at these homes along US 60.
You couldn't see, there was wind swirling and trees and limbs and stuff flying everywhere, and so I just sort of ducked.
Most of the trees were uprooted from the ground, but Edwards says some snapped in half, which tells him these winds were traveling 80 to 90 miles per hour. Covering the news, Kelsey Borza, LEX18 News.
Well, it's going to be a long road to recovery for the storm survivors in Johnson County. Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck joins us live again from Johnson Central High School, where all of those donations collected are headed. Bill?
Indeed they are, and the process is already underway with folks who have donated locally. And of course, when the trucks from central Kentucky arrive, that'll be just that much more help for the folks who so desperately do need it out here after the devastation earlier in the week. The flooding was incredible, to say the least. The good news, if you're looking for that, as the relief efforts are underway, you are looking at weather that's going to be cooperating for us. So that's what we're talking about in our big weather story. No more weather aware for a while. That is certainly some good news. We have had more of that than we would care to even think about of late. MaxTrack Live Doppler helps to show that for us. Not anything going on this afternoon. There have been a couple little sprinkles. That's been about it. Your temperatures, those are hovering around 80. It's actually a very pleasant afternoon throughout most of central and eastern Kentucky. By 11 o'clock, we'll be somewhere around 70 with the sky clearing out. So again, we're out here at Johnson Central High School in Paintsville with the LEX18 Caravan. Kevin, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Bill. And we'll check back with the LEX18 Making a Difference Caravan. And coming up next, the latest about a death investigation. A woman's body found inside a Lexington home.